Okay, welcome back, students who are taking Math for Business and Finance and Math Applications, and hopefully you've gotten through this so far, uh, and how long it's taking this math-intensive chapter. So we're doing the Chapter 16 drill problems, and we had stopped with, let's see here, problem 16-11, and hopefully I can finish off these ratios in this video. Again, it's a lot of math, okay? Yeah, you have to understand the concepts of each and every one, like in this case here, these ratios. If you understand the concepts, then it's basically just doing the math. I mean, what I do for 2015, I just need to pick up the numbers for 2014, but it's the same formula. I'm just doing the work twice, okay? So, let's see here. 16-11 is the asset turnover. And the asset turnover is our net sales over our total assets. And so net sales is on our income statement. And let's see here, net sales of 18,000, and our total assets on our balance sheet is 89,000. Okay, so we have 18,000 divided by 89,000, and that gives me 0.202, okay, or 0.2 for my asset turnover. Okay, for the 2014, we are looking at 14.9 and 65.5. So I have 14,900 divided by 65.5, and that gives me 0.227 or 0.23, okay, for 2014. Okay, so now the asset turnover is telling you, you know, how many times you turned over your assets during that period of time. Basically, what you're really looking at, because remember, this here is total assets. Okay, you know, you think about it, what's really changing the most? You know, your inventory and your cash, and that's in comparison to your net sales. Well, what are you selling? You're selling your inventory. So it is kind of saying, okay, this is how quickly I'm turning over my inventory during that period of time. Right? Right, so now we have 16-12 as my total debt to total assets. Well, what's total debt? Total debt is liabilities, right? So I have my total liabilities, total debt, over my total assets. Right? Both of those are found on the income statement. So I have my total liabilities of 42,000 and my total assets of 89. 42,000 divided by 89,000 gives me 0.471. Okay, so that's 0.47, right, for my total debt to total assets. And for the period of 2014, I have 65.5 and 32.5. Okay. So, 32.5 divided by 65.5 gives me 0.496, or rounded to 0.5. Okay, so basically what you're saying here is, you know, you know, what's my debt to asset ratio? Okay, and obviously I have more, you know, if I get to a point where I'm at 1-to-1, right, then I have no equity in the company, because remember, assets is equal to liabilities plus equity, right? Well, if my debt to asset ratio, and okay, I'm just going to throw out quick numbers here. If I have 50,000 in liabilities and 100,000 in assets, that's 0.5. If I have 100,000 in liabilities, okay, that means I have a ratio of 1.0, okay, which means now, I'm break even. Well, if I have if I have one here, I have 100,000 here, I'm sorry, and 100,000 here, how much do I have in equity? I have 0 in equity, okay? But if I had 50,000 for my liability here, okay, that means I have 50,000 in equity, right? So that's kind of like giving you a little bit of an insight into why I'm looking at that, okay? I'm able to gauge how much equity, how much my debt to my asset ratio is. And of course the spinoff is the how much in equity I end up having. All right, 16-13, net income after tax to the net sales. Okay, so net income, and remember that's after tax, to my net sales. So for my net income and my net sales are on my income statement. So I have my net income is $990 and my net sales is 18,000. Okay, now remember this here, okay, remember this is net income after taxes. I want to point this out because here you have, net income before taxes. You're not using this number, you're using the after the taxes, after tax figure. Okay, so it's not 1630, it's 990. Don't get that confused. All right. So what did I say? I said 990 and 18,000. So I have 990 divided by 18,000, which gives me 0.055 or 0.6 for the net income after tax for the net sales. And then let's go up to the 2014. I have 14,900 and 1,200. So 1,200 divided by 14,900, and that gives me 0.0805 or 0.08. Sorry, that should be 0.06. Okay, so my net income after tax to the net sales. What are you looking at there? Well, you're sitting there saying how much income do I have, after tax in comparison to my net sales. All right, so I have my net sales, but I have to take out my cost of goods sold. In other words, what I bought the table for before I sold it, and of course you're taking out all of your expenses and you're taking out your taxes. So basically, right here, we're talking about being break even. All right. They're just slightly profitable, all right? I mean, if that's a negative number, then we're at a loss, okay? Of course, we want that number to be as high as we possibly can get it. But year over year, they're pretty much the same, okay? All right, so my return on equity after taxes. Next, 16-14, and then we'll be done with these drill problems. So my return on equity after tax, right? So that's my net income after tax over my equity, because we're looking for a return on our investment, right? Well, where we find our net income, they're the same figures from the income statement, but our equity comes off the balance sheet. So for the income statement, we're still going to be using the 990, and we're still going to be using the 1200. Okay, so let me just write those down here to make it 990 and 1200. And for the equity, okay, we have to, let me erase these to point out the number. Okay, you can't, don't just jump down to the bottom line here and see this word stockholders equity and say, oh, 89,000. That's not the number you need. Okay, you need the total stockholder equity right here. Okay, you need this 47,000 and this 33,000. That's your total of stockholder equity. In other words, that's what they invested in the business. So I take the 990 for 2015 and I'm dividing that by the 47,000, and the 1200 I'm dividing by the 33,000. Okay, so 990 divided by 47,000 is 0.021 or 0.02, and 1200 divided by 33,000 is 0.036, rounding up 0.04. Okay, and that's my return on my investment. Okay, obviously you want higher number than that. Okay, because you're not, yeah, you're positive, so yeah, you're getting return on your investment. But if it's a negative number, you're losing money, and that's not unusual. I mean, year to year or period to period, you're going to have profit, you're going to have loss, net profit or net income, and you're going to have a net loss at times. So, what you want to see is the trend, and this goes back to a trend analysis. Okay, here, if you're going to start graphing this out, let's call this 2014, you're here at 0.04, okay, and then in 2015, okay, now you're down here, right? So you went down by 2 cents, all right, 2 cents in 2015. Well, maybe now in 2016, let's say it's 0.06, okay. Now you're up like this, okay. So that's the reason why you're doing these comparisons between the years, because visually you can graph this out and see what the trends are. Okay, and it's not, it's a lot more complicated than just looking at one number. All right, you're looking at one year compared to another year, or what's called year over year. Okay, to see how you're going from one year to the next. But you have to extend this out, and you want to see 2016, 2017, 2018 in order to be able to do your trend analysis to see whether you're going up or whether you're going down. Okay, up, down, down. Okay, and to see what the trend is. And again, you're looking at these ratios and you're looking at these figures in order to give you indications so that you can look into any problems that might be occurring, and you can take action to correct them, okay, because they're not heading in the direction you want. Okay, so that was quite long. And with the word problems, we're going to end up having 3 word problems. So hopefully the word problems will take a lot less time than doing these, but as I said, it's right from the very beginning in the theory videos that this is an intensive chapter, right? Not only for theory when you don't understand it, but also for number crunching. So with that said, I will see you in the videos for word problems.